So welcome to this gameplay video showing how to select and deploy units in a multiplayer game of Time for War. Okay, so now we're going to see the unit selection screen for the Axis units. So here important units are the 109, the infantry units being the sniper and the officer, because they've got the best view range of all units. A couple of anti-tank guns, so you've got the Pak-38 and the Pak-40, obvious choices. Then Zondaps, a couple of those because they're great for transporting the units with great vision. Wasp is a great artillery unit, great indirect fire. A couple of Panthers, they provide the hard-hitting muscle, if you like, and then just to mop it up, I think probably add the Tiger unit as well. So Opel Blitz, great for transporting units. The half-track and the Puma. Puma typically use that for knocking the search and destroy any enemy aircraft, and then the half-track great for transporting the heavy Pak-40 into the front line so that it can pick off any units that come into view range. So now we're going to move on to how deploying the units. So once you've made your unit selection, you can then lay out your units before you start the battle. So the idea here is to take the sniper, push them up on the right flank so that you can try and get to see any units that are advancing on the right flank. Take the officer, who's also got visibility on the left flank towards the buildings on the left side of the map towards the centre road, and then take the Pak-38 and a couple of heavy infantry, so this will be the MG42 and the mortar unit, so they can go and hide in behind the units on the right of the centre road. SDKFZ 251 half track, that's going to transport the heavy anti-tank gun, the Pak-40, into the central part of the battle so that it can take out any advancing heavy tanks. Then so we put the I think that was the Panzer III or the Panzer IV, sorry, on the left to advance, take out any units that come up the road, and then push the heavy tanks into the middle to take out any advancing units. So in this replay, I'm going to show you some of the tactics used to try and essentially spot enemy units coming on the horizon and then take them out with early sentry fire from the back. So here you can see that's essentially using motorcycles, which have got good range, to push up two infantry units, one being the sniper, which has got great visibility, and the other one is the officer. Both of these two units have the best view range out of all the units in the game, so that's the idea behind putting those units up front. So then we've got a supply truck which has got inside it some heavy units and a sort of light anti-tank gun, and here you can see the half track at the bottom being loaded by the heavy M1942 anti-tank gun. So the idea is that push the M8 Greyhound up front. That's typically used to try and take out the enemy Bf-109 aircraft. And essentially here we're just pushing the units up front to then take advantage of the units that have got the vision. So the sniper unit is being unloaded from the motorcycle. He's going to go towards the crest of the hill and then go into sentry mode, where he will literally snipe any unit that comes into visible range. Units are selected by the unit type, so as it's a sniper rifle, it's going to be aiming at infantry that come, basically any of the enemy recon units that come over the horizon. It's going to try and take them out, so therefore preventing the other player from doing the same tactics as what's being played out here. And again, the officer is doing pretty much exactly the same thing. And then finally, I think for this turn, pushing the Spitfire up front and that'll go into sentry unit mode as well, so that it can take out any units that are that pop into view range. So here we are now from the Axis point of view, and essentially, so the plan of the turn 2 player is to really try and push up a single unit, push it up into an area where you've got good cover, so that you can unload your infantry unit, try and peek round the side of this house, although there isn't an awful lot of room to maneuver here based on the building and the tree. But essentially the idea is to try and pop around the edge of this building and then see if you can see any of the enemy infantry. And this plan goes drastically wrong when the infantry goes too far, and there you can see the sniper, which was configured in sentry mode, has literally just picked off that infantry unit, which was the Axis, I think that was the Axis sniper as well. So it was either the Axis sniper or the Axis officer, possibly the Axis officer. So I think here is the Axis sniper. So basically he's pushing up the other side of the map to try and again do exactly the same from this perspective. We know from the shot that was just fired that that sniper is in the middle of the map on the Allied side, and here you can see that the officer has got good visibility, and he does actually, the sniper's got good visibility, and he does actually manage to get a hit on that sniper there and take it out. So here again, this is the Puma, similar to the M8. It's going to take a shot out on the Spitfire and take it out, which is a big blow for the Allies, because the aircraft, they have great range and great visibility, but pushing the aircraft up front early on is a risky manoeuvre. If things don't play out the way you expect them to do, you're losing valuable units. Again, losing the sniper, potentially losing the officer as well. So it was quite an aggressive start, and it hasn't paid off. So the Bf-109 is being pushed up now that the Axis units have got good visibility, and it's uncovered the supply truck. Now this is bad for the Allies, because that supply truck was loaded with infantry. It had heavy infantry, it had artillery, yeah, essentially that's bad news for the Allied units. Next move would be, okay, so pushing up, I think I'm pushing up this is the SD KFZ251 half track, which has got the Pak 40 loaded, so that's the heavy anti-tank gun, and then the Pak 38 is going in the Opal, and that's going to basically, and this has got the, so this has got the heavy infantry, so that's the machine gunner and the mortar unit. So they're going to go in around about those buildings and try and take advantage of anything that pops into view. Again, similar thing as the other side, pushing the heavy tanks forward. And what you can see, if you look at the fence line, you can see that there's a small arch. Essentially, these buildings are on a small hill, and that means that on the outside of the bushes that go in a circle, you're in a dip. So any shots that you want to make to the other side, you have to venture into the hill in order to make a clear shot, unless you've got indirect fire, which is shown here with the Axis mortar unit taking out that motorcycle. The idea from the Axis perspective is to try and take out the eyes of the enemy, and that's any unit that's got good visibility. So what would have been better actually from this side would have been to take out the officer, because the officer is the one unit that still exists that's got the best vision on the board. So yeah, it would have been good for the Axis to do that. So essentially now I think the plan with the Axis is just to push the units up. You've got eyes on, so now you need to push your units forward and then prepare for the advance of the enemy. So put your units into sentry mode and then essentially wait for the enemy to roll into your units and hopefully get caught in their fire that will pursue. So here again, just preparing, moving the half track forward so that the MG42 is facing the right way, taking out any infantry that might appear. So back onto the Allies. So essentially, again, plan is take out that Spitfire, sorry, the BF-109. The idea then is essentially trying to knock out any units with good vision, good visibility. So that was a HE shot, you could see onto the enemy infantry taking it out. That was the officer unit taking out the machine gunner, I think, which was a good shot. Now then, this was the half track moving forward, the M3 moving forward into the sentry gun that was on the other side, so that automatically fired on the advancing vehicle, and that's what happens when you can manage to get good units forward with good visibility. They'll just basically pick off any units that come into view range. So here, that's the M3 Sherman, M3. I think is it potentially I think it could be the Firefly. That's even though it's got a US badge on it. So let's see what else are we doing here. So there's the Wolverine. So that's the M10 tank killer. That's going into sentry mode. And let's see what else we're planning to do. So there's the M4 Sherman moving up down the road. Essentially the Allies' days are numbered really, because, and here you can see what I was saying before with the crest of the hill, that the units can't fire. So what happened there was that the Panther moved forward into the M10, and the M10 fired on it as soon as it came into range. Although the armor on the Panther is pretty good, you can see there that it's showing the armor that's remaining on the Wolverine, and it's got the front armor. You see at the top where it says the armor type medium, and then again that was the Tiger tank taking a shot too far. Really, it was too close to the surface to get a clean shot, and now the other Panther is going to take a shot just on the tree line, and that time it's penetrated the armor of the Wolverine. So the units on in this game are equal, so every unit is equal stats. So the Tiger tank is equal to the Pershing, and the Panther is equal to the Wolverine, even though historically these stats weren't the same. But in order to provide a completely balanced game in this mode, everything is balanced out in that way. So here, this is the sniper trying to take a shot against the officer, but he's too close to the edge of the building, and so his shot isn't a clean shot, and he misses. So I think then obviously it takes the mortar unit takes a shot. Bit of overkill there, but it's a guaranteed priority is so important in this game to take out any units with good vision. So then the motorcycle, the Zundap goes around the side, catches visibility of the priest, and then the Wasp on this side takes a shot, doesn't manage to penetrate the armor completely, and then the Puma moves forward, who does get a clean shot, and it's game over. Reaches more than 750 points, and that's a clear victory for the Axis units.